everybody. I am Justin McElroy. Welcome to the future.
Yeah.
You were in the past
This
before.
is it.
This is the future.
We're no longer on the same timeline.
I'm actually having schisms
Yeah.
where my old timeline
You're
is
jumping
cutting
back
in.
and forth, Slaughterhouse-Five style.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
I just saw
that's
my
cool.
grandma die again. Great.
Great. That's not cool, but maybe you'll go back and see her be born again.
That would be beautiful.
Wouldn't that be
That'd
nice?
Nice symmetry.
I'm Josh Topolsky, and this is Justin McElroy. Of course, who else would it be? It's not like, I mean, this could be Ross Miller, but it's not this time.
Your schism, your timeline.
Yeah,
Ross's timeline.
we crossed streams. Anyhow, so we're back after following the incredible, breathtaking, emotional
Definitely.
Xbox One event.
TV heavy.
What do you think? Lay it on me.
Man, I am ready to watch TV again. I've stopped watching TV for a long time, but now I'm ready.
Yeah.
No,
now you can find what you're looking for.
I can finally find some shows
Using your
to
voice.
watch, using my voice. No, it was a very interesting conference. I mean, we didn't get into games for about 30 minutes.
Yeah, gaming was very light, relatively light.
Relatively light. I mean, very known quantities: Call of Duty, FIFA.
Yeah.
That was interesting. The features they showed, the connectivity and stuff like that, is definitely much more of a mass market play, I think, than Sony was showing up during theirs.
Should we talk about so they started the event with did they show the hardware before anything? They showed the hardware and the controller.
Right
they kind of like got into it, and then they very quickly went into TV and Kinect functionality, and there was a big emphasis on gesture controls, voice controls, and I feel like the thing that people here that you and I seem most excited about at first, and other people in the room, was whatever the pinch to get back into something was. It was like, so the Kinect is always watching you.
Always.
And always listening.
Is the Xbox off? Kinect doesn't care. It's going to keep watching.
The Xbox is it's always on. Like, you wake it up by speaking to it, but it's never fully asleep.
Right.
It's never fully out.
Oh, it's always
So
in
it's
the game.
listening to you all the time at home.
Perfect.
And watching you.
Perfect. 2013. I'm ready.
Nude.
Yeah.
Watching you strut through your living room.
Looking fit, J-Man.
Fully nude. Yeah, he's gonna be like, that's a great outfit.
Hey, listen, I'd like to recommend this new fitness game we got. Not saying anything. Not a big deal. NBD.
Yeah, it's like
casual.
Look, maybe I'm gonna try some exercising.
You just said for me to order you a pizza.
Right.
Are you sure you want me to? I'm not so sure.
I don't
that
think
other one's still over there in the corner.
I mean, but they didn't really address that, but that is the case. It will be like sort of a way. So let's talk about the TV stuff.
Yeah.
Your level of interest. What do you think?
It just seems so strange to me because, first off, the first TV integration they showed off was actually the ability to switch to live TV,
Right.
Which is interesting from a perspective of like connectivity. It's cool that I don't have to switch inputs. I guess that's kind of neat.
Right.
One controller, so that's cool.
And they have a guide.
Built into it. But who is? I just didn't know people were watching live TV. I mean, I know that people are obviously still watching live TV. I shouldn't say that, but in terms of like a forward-looking trend that we want to get out in front of, I mean, they used gesture and voice commands to switch to Price is Right, and it's wow.
It was like that when they first demoed how amazing it was that you could switch into live TV. It was like the most dated program that you could possibly come up with. And it's not their fault. I mean, it was live TV. But that's, I think, it was interesting that they had such an emphasis on that. I mean, first off, it's HDMI pass-through, so it's not like they're somehow becoming your cable box. Like, you still need your cable box to get the content onto there. I think that their whole deal, though, is like, we just want to be. We don't want to have any other boxes if you can help it in your living room besides this thing. And it even kind of has like the design of the hardware is. It kind of looks like a VCR.
I'm trying to get excited about it, but that was the main sticking point that I noticed early on. Was we had the controller looks great. It looks very much like you would expect.
It's like an Xbox controller.
Yeah, and the brand new Kinect looks. It's a lot sleeker, a lot more compact.
Yeah.
It seems it's hard to tell scale.
Yeah.
But the box itself, I
mean, maybe this just sort of reaffirms Sony's decision to not even show a box.
Yeah.
Like, does the box matter? I mean, the truth is, it doesn't matter. I mean, the Xbox is ugly. The old Xbox.
The first,
the 360.
No, which we can't call Xbox One anymore.
Xbox One, original Xbox
Prime
was ugly. The Xbox 360, I think, is pretty ugly. You like it?
No, I mean I like the black a lot more than I like the white Inhale.
It's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, the newer one you mean? The Slim.
Yeah.
Slim? No, they don't call it Slim. What is it called?
Yeah.
Light.
S.
And then so this is like actually kind of nicer, but it also looks like an HTPC.
It's
like
very.
It looks like something you might buy a Newegg if you're building like a home theater.
It looks
PC.
like a box that anybody would be comfortable putting into a home theater setup. It doesn't say kitty. It doesn't say. You're right.
Right. But anyhow, that's beside the point. Inside, x86, 8-core GPUs.
Loving that.
Memory. It has memory.
Oh, juicy. That sounds
storage.
good to me. Definitely.
USB 3.0.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I know that.
Blu-ray.
That's good. That's
Blu-ray
fine.
drive. They caved on that.
Yeah, they gave in.
I mean, I guess Microsoft was like, look, if we're going to be the center of your home entertainment situation, like we're going to have to give you the Blu-ray drive, or else you're going to buy a Sony product.
It's been a tough meeting.
You're going to get tough. They're like, look,
boardroom.
we the HD DVD thing didn't go great for us.
We're just going to try putting it in.
We're just going to slide this in there. Maybe no. But yeah, I don't know. I'm a little underwhelmed. Am I crazy for feeling that way? You're a games guy. You're a gaming guy. You're a video game man.
It is definitely not a. There was. I would not say there was a big idea in terms of gaming. I mean,
Right.
if you care about gaming primarily, I mean, it apparently will look better. The integration of some of those other services into games, but even that wasn't really shown for gaming. It was shown as a backup to your TV experience, which I think that people want more than a supplemented gaming experience. I mean, that's pretty all.
And they really emphasized the voice control and the ability to switch between things and to even have that little split screen sort of experience where you can check some stuff out or make a Skype call. I don't know. To me, it's just like, are people just like, man, I wish I could be making Skype calls while I'm watching a movie. And what's weird about it is in their press release, it says something like, play a game, play like your favorite action game while watching a movie at the same time, and it's like, is that a future? Is there an experience that I'm missing that people are having where they're doing that thing? Because to me, that's like, I want to watch a movie or play a game, and like those don't need to be happening.
I get pretty on the attention span, especially when I'm by myself. I wouldn't mind having another diversion on the side of the TV. And
are you being serious?
Yeah,
Really?
actually, yeah, right.
While you're watching TV?
While I'm watching TV, I want to be doing something else.
You want to be playing
real bad up
playing
here.
a game.
This whole scene here.
Well, what about having a Skype call while you're watching a movie?
That doesn't sound that well. Maybe TV show, maybe not a movie, but a TV show. My dad wants to call and ask me how the episode of Justified. I'm like that guy.
Are you watching Justified?
I am.
I watched the first few episodes. I don't know. I'm not.
Didn't catch
Does it take more time?
Let's just talk about Justified.
What do you guys think of Justified?
Hey, what Justified? What do you think?
What was your take on it? I mean, Oliphant. By the way, does he have a? I've said this for a long time. He should have. If he doesn't have a fan club called Olifans, he should. And I'd like to make that happen. But so a lot of TV stuff, which was great. I mean, it seemed like the voice control worked really well. The guide seemed really great. Like the discoverability of content and like recommendations and all that stuff seemed really good.
Instant switching between all these different applications, super cool.
Yeah, very fast. And then they got into gaming. I mean, there's not a lot to say except that like they've got a hugely improved, what it looks like a hugely improved entertainment/TV watching experience.
Yeah, and which looks great. It looks like a great way to experience TV.
And then they got into gaming. I got to say, I did not at the PS4 event. I felt like there were glimmers of actual gameplay, and I was like, this is really impressive. Mm-hmm. Like this feels. What was it? Was Killzone? Is that the game that they showed off that somebody actually played on stage?
Yeah, that seems statistically.
Killzone is Killzone an actual name of a game franchise?
I have a memory condition.
Or did I just make that up?
I have a memory condition where I actually instantly forget Killzone the moment it enters my...
Any Killzone related.
Yeah.
Well, anyhow, they showed off gameplay at the PlayStation event. I was like, I got to say, this does look vast and really detailed. I didn't feel like I saw any of that today at the Microsoft event. And I know E3, they're going to have all the games, But I thought that the Call of Duty, if that was like the most graphically impressive stuff that they showed.
Well, it's also hard because the only things we saw today were cinematics. I mean, even if they were being presented in the gameplay engine, you weren't seeing what it. You weren't able to. They're using jump cuts. They're using music.
Yeah.
You don't get a sense of what it would be like to actually play the game.
Right.
So
here's some footage from this. This looked really good. This is Quantum Break, which apparently is part television series part game.
Yeah,
and it's like unclear like if this is rendered, if this is pre-rendered or rendered in real time. If it's in real time, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, pretty awesome.
You guys seem to think this was not unattainable for real time, but we don't really see. There's a little bit of, we don't know if this is gameplay here or not. This is like a cinematic.
This is by Remedy.
Okay, that's an actual human being.
That's a human.
Okay, this is not an actual human.
Remedy, who made Alan Wake, which actually integrated a lot of FMV into the game itself.
Yeah.
So an integrated approach for these guys it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and I have to say, Alan Wake, I played like crazy. Yeah. And I thought it was very well done the way they blended those two things. I mean, I have no doubt these guys have the capability of making a great game. It's just like trying to get a sense of what the games will be like, what they'll look like, what the actual feel of it, how it'll be different from what we've already seen is tough. And I think we talked about this a little bit. It's also tough because we've all seen PC games on really great rigs, and this is basically what we're looking at.
Well, it's part of the problem with waiting so long in between two generations is that PCs have had such a long time to sort of advance beyond this that I don't think you're going to be wowed by a lot of what you saw. And you and I were talking about this during the stream. The jump is just not going to be like it was when we went from SD to HD, or even 16-bit up to PlayStation, N64.
No, that was a huge. I mean, that was a big jump.
We're not going to
going from 16-bit to PlayStation.
That was massive,
was a huge deal.
And I don't think you're going to see, it's always going to feel more incremental from this point on, because you're also running up against the cost to actually make all these assets. I mean, somebody got to draw the polygons.
It seems like, there was a period, a long period where off the shelf wasn't an option. There was no like off the shelf test bed for this stuff. You couldn't just come up with, hey, we're going to put these components together and we're going to have an amazingly powerful gaming computer, right? I mean, people had to actually custom build. I mean, they had to custom build the components to make a great video game system.
Right.
Is it going to take, I wonder, is there going to be some quantum leap when somebody actually says, look, we created something that nobody else has and we're building for this game system? Will that happen again, or are we always going to be on the track where it's just like the iterative process of PC hardware?
Well, there has to be some sort of, as long as we're in sort of a two-console fight, there's always going to be some parity. Like, it's going to be hard to have anybody make any sort of titanic jump without the other person, because it doesn't make sense to develop games that can only be played on one if you're not in an exclusive deal. Speaking of exclusive deal, that was one piece of gaming information that I was actually pretty excited about, is that they said they were going to have in the first year of the system, which is actually before holiday of 2014.
It'll be between this holiday and next holiday.
15 exclusive games, 8 of which are new. This is a little disheartening. They say new franchises, which, boy, what a charming, whimsical way to talk about video games.
We made a new McDonald's for you.
Right. New transmedia experiences.
This is going to be, it's like, why not just announce the 4 sequels now?
Exactly.
Right. Just tell me about, like,
tell me about the novel.
That is exciting. The franchise part. But not the franchise part, but the idea that there's going to be some original.
And we're going to see a ton of that at E3, of course. They want to keep something in the tank for there. It seems to me that when you're looking at something like this kind of like tone-setting event, and they actually started out, which I thought was smart, with a sort of tone video with lots of celebrities and people who worked on games. My man Jay Allard was up in there. And if they're setting a tone with this kind of event, and the first half is TV, and then there's 10 minutes of games, and then they're back talking about TV again. Like, that to me as a gamer, primarily, is kind of a worrying tone. I know that it's just that, but if that's the tone they're setting.
I think it's obvious that they have to, Microsoft has to own this space.
Right.
Clearly Google wants to be there. They've tried with Google TV. They want to be in the living room. Apple is obviously like, supposedly going to try to get there. Microsoft has been, they've not had a great couple of years in terms of like stamping out space in new markets or in markets where they used to dominate, right? They're not doing great with phones. They're in third place now, apparently, but still not like doing what Android and iPhone are doing. Tablets, I don't think the Surfaces have much of an impact. PC sales are on the decline, and a lot of people aren't crazy about Windows 8. So, solid OS, but they're not. It's not like Microsoft is just clearly dominating everywhere. Search, they're not dominating. Like, they're not necessarily like as robust on the internet as they want to be. Like, but the Xbox has been just a completely separate product for them in terms of maybe not dominance, but just a superior, excellent product that many people, millions and millions of people love and want to use and have a tremendous affection for. So I feel like, this is a place where they not only have to keep that moving, right? They need to bring all those people along with them, but they have to say, like, this is a place where we can and will succeed because we know how to do it in the living room, becoming like this entertainment hub. So today's announcement felt very much like it was, it was almost like, hey, we can do games. Like, we've got great franchises, we have great hardware, like that's a foregone conclusion, but we really want to say we beat people to this solution for TV, which I think is like weird because TV seems like, I don't know, we were talking about live TV, I don't watch that much live TV, I kind of hate flipping through channels, and most of my watching is like, I heard something's good or I know something's good and I want to go find it and watch it, or I've DVR'd something and I'm going to watch it. So, this doesn't necessarily add a lot to the live TV experience. Like, I'm not going to watch more TV now because of it. Right.
And I think that you're right in that not a lot of time spent on gaming, but as you say, if you like video games, you're in a financial position where you can afford it, you will buy one of these. Like, they don't really have to sell that market. They've proven concretely, I think, that they are the channel for that. Now, are they showing me a strategy that says how they're going to continue to, and this I think is one of the things that was missing outside of specific games, are they showing a strategy that says this is how we're going to continue to stay relevant in a gaming industry that is moving so fast?
Right. And they've showed stuff like this Illuma Room demo, which to me is, you guys were talking about it on the pre-show, to me is like really like, if you showed consumers that experience and you told them that you could make it happen and it would be easy, I feel like consumers would be like, whoa, this is a completely different gaming experience than what I've known before. This is a weird, immersive gaming experience. They didn't really show, we know the Kinect, they said it's more, here's some Illuma Room footage right here. We know the Kinect is going to be higher resolution, more sensitive. I don't feel like Kinect, certainly not for penetrated. I think it has a great penetration in terms of consumer adoption, but it's not like it's a brand whole new world. Graphically speaking, I don't think we saw anything that was necessarily better than what Sony's showing off. So the question is, how do you do that? Is it those franchises? Is it just like we have the best content? I feel like that was part of the message.
Yeah, another part of the message that was noticeably absent was any mention of the Xbox 360, and how that fits into the overall Xbox world. Wired had a report that the new Xbox has no.
We actually have we have a report on that.
You have a report? Wow.
Yeah. I talked to Mark Whitten, and it was one of the questions that I asked him, and he was very clear that at this point there's no backwards compatibility for the 360
at all,
and that they're actually going to be selling the 360. They're going to continue to sell the 360 alongside this new the Xbox. What is it called? One.
The Uno.
What's that? The Uno. And so I think I was a little surprised, like, as a guy who's invested a lot of money in Xbox 360 games, and as a guy who wants to reduce the amount of consoles that I have in my living room. It's a little disheartening that they don't have some option here. Obviously, it's different hardware.
Right,
but
of course.
Some streaming option or some kind of like, we're going to be backfilling these titles in some way.
Anything at all.
Yeah. Or like, here, we'll give you credit for some new games. It's like, throw me a bone. I thought that was actually really surprising. I know that the expectation was that it's not going to be backwards compatible, but I just feel like there should be some little, like, give me a little bit of a breadcrumb towards some, like, me not trashing the entire library of games.
I said it before. It's bad for preservation. It's bad for keeping gaming relevant. It makes it seem so much like a commodity.
Yeah.
I use these games up.
$60 a piece.
Yeah.
And I play them, like, I go back to old games. I mean, I do that. And it just seems like, I don't know. Maybe it's a minor thing. Maybe it's for nerds only. Maybe we're going to be the only guys in the world who are pissed off about it. But if you're going to have me spend, and they didn't announce a price. We should say no price, no release date.
Yeah.
They said this year. So they mean
Surprise.
holidays. They mean like November, Black Friday. It'll be in stores.
Yeah.
If it's not, they blew it. If I'm going to say it now, if this isn't in stores for Black Friday, Microsoft blew it.
The console war's over.
Like, I mean, in some ways, it would be very bad.
It'll be out in November.
It'll be definitely in November. But no price. Probably going to be like what, $500, $499.
Sounds about right.
So, you know, I spent a bunch of money on my games. Now I'm spending $500 on this. Yes, the experiences will be great. It just would be nice if like I didn't have to retire my entire library.
And I understand there's an argument to be made for, well, people won't buy as many new games if they can play all the old games on this system. But like that, I mean, that's a very sort of weird.
To me, that's a reason to
logic.
To me, that's a reason to buy. It's like I get all the new stuff plus my old stuff. Why would I continue to have the other ones sitting around? I'm going to buy this new console and slide into the next generation.
I actually have a lot less patience for the downloadable games not being backwards compatible. I mean, to be able to download I feel like I bought those and I feel like I own them, and they're not even like a disc that I can.
Like, what about the Xbox? Like, what about the arcade stuff? I mean, all of it.
Apparently, yeah.
That seems crazy.
That's pretty disheartening.
Especially since they were like sort of harping on, you know, all of their these operating systems. They kept talking about 3 operating systems.
Yeah, that was odd.
There's 3 OSs. There's a Windows kernel, and then there's the Xbox something
experience,
and then there's the thing that switches
between them.
And it sounds like kind of bullshit to me.
It sounded like they were explaining the technology of the system the way my physician wife explains medical things to me. Like, you basically have it's like a train that's in your body that's taking the sick away.
No, exactly. No, I mean, it seems like an oversimplification.
Right.
I mean, like,
it's abstracted so far that it doesn't really mean anything.
So you're running, so it's Linux, Mac, and Windows on this? Like, can you explain?
They're all running in.
Are they? Yeah. Like, are you? Yeah. Anyhow, but so I don't really know. I don't really know what that means completely. Now we have somebody that we're gonna bring in. Who are we bringing in as a guest here?
Are you hearing something?
Oh, Brian Crescente.
Oh, I know him.
From Polygon. Oh, look at this. Hey, there he is.
Wow.
Brian, can you hear us? No, he can't hear us.
Yes.
Oh, you can. There's a massive delay, so this is going to be awesome.
There's a little delay, I think. A little delay, yes.
Brian, what was it like in the room?
It was actually a surprisingly small room. It had about 8 rows, not a lot of people in there, and a lot of Microsoft people, I think, in the back, because there was a lot of eruptions of applause at odd moments in the presentation.
Perhaps even pre-planned moments in the presentation.
Possibly they had people applauding for specific things. I couldn't tell what they were applauding for, but yeah, it was an interesting sort of setting where it was not a lot of people there, but enough for us to kind of get an idea of what was going on, and then just sort of this backdrop of what had to be, I think, employees who were sort of filling in the silence with applause.
Now, game journalists are incapable of not beginning to critique something like literally the moment it ends. Have you talked to anybody else who was in the room? Is there a sense of the tone of the reaction to the announcement so far?
Yeah, actually, the people I've talked to have all been pretty positive. I think a lot of people, I ran into some of the Penny Arcade guys. I was talking to them. They really liked it. Their one critique was why they went with USB 3 and not some other sort of input. So that was, I think, a joke critique. But I think in general, people were, I wouldn't say confused, but they want more information. This was a presentation that painted with very broad strokes, so we got a sense of some of the stuff going on, but there's still a lot of questions we all have about a lot of the particulars.
So we were talking about the game quality and kind of what we saw of gaming. Was there a moment, did you see something that felt like real gameplay to you where you got a taste of what this thing was capable of from a graphics perspective? Because it was kind of hard. I mean, watching the stream, it was sort of hard to distinguish what was pre-rendered or what was a cinematic versus like any gameplay. They really didn't show any gameplay. Was there a moment where there was a kind of like, oh wow, or a gasp, and people really got a sense of what this thing could do?
There were no gasps at all, but I think that wasn't because people were not impressed with what was going on. I think, again, they were sort of just sitting there absorbing. I mean, it was 1 hour, And they didn't just present a new console, but it presented like something that obviously touches on a lot of things outside of gaming. In terms of gameplay, what we saw, a lot of it did look to me like pre-rendered stuff. Forza, I think there was a moment where they cut to real gameplay because it looked real. I mean, it looked like something that was happening in the game. The EA Sports stuff to me looked a lot like CGI. I think Ghost, though, gave us their best look at what some gameplay is going to look like, and that was pretty impressive. But honestly, for me at least, as a gamer, I'm at the point where I'm not going to buy a console based on how pretty the graphics are. I'm going to buy a console based on the experience and what else they're bringing to the table beyond just, what the game looks like.
So what's your take on this versus what you saw of the PS4? Was this more compelling than what Sony showed off?
Yeah, I mean, I think they told us a lot more about the console than the PlayStation 4, than Sony did during the PlayStation 4 presentation. I feel like Sony sort of went into that, and I kind of think their philosophy is, hey, entertainment, hey, TV, hey, movies, we can all get along. Let's see how we can all work together. We're gonna sort of figure out a way where we can share the audience. Microsoft went in and said, no, we're going to be the experience, and if you want to do anything with our users, you have to go through us. And whether or not you like that approach, it's certainly a very direct approach, and it's one that can add something to the experience. So their idea is, I think, let's take TV and add a little bit of gaming experience to TV, and let's take movies and music and everything else, and essentially, I hate to say gamify it, but give it an element of gaming. So essentially, gaming becomes one more channel, one more press button on your remote. You go from watching the Game of Thrones to watching Mad Men to playing Call of Duty Ghosts, and it's as easy as just pushing a button. And I think that's what they want to do.
Brian, let me ask you something. First off, I wanted to tell you that I took the notepad from your desk and I borrowed your pen and I didn't ask. So for that, I'm sorry. I want to apologize for that up front. Sorry about that.
That's it.
I used a whole page scribbling. What do you? We're getting ready to go into E3 here in just a couple short weeks.
Right.
What do you feel like you still need to hear from Microsoft about Xbox? What are the big lingering questions for you that you still want answered?
Well, I mean, the obvious one is the price and the release date. But I think also today, it sounds like looking at the schedule, we're going to get a lot more detail on some of the broad strokes that they already sort of laid out for us. So we're going to find out a lot more about how Xbox Live is going to work. We're going to find out about backwards compatibility, something that they didn't talk about. I would assume, because it wasn't brought up, that it won't be in the game, in the Xbox One, that they won't have backwards compatibility.
It's not.
They're probably today going to be talking a little bit more about... Oh, did they confirm that it's not in there?
Yeah, we have it confirmed, yeah. It wasn't in the announce. I talked to Mark Whitten, and so he confirmed it.
Yeah, so that's not surprising. I mean, it's disappointing, but I think ultimately it's something that'll only hurt them for a small segment of people for a short period of time. But going into E3, what I really want to see is, I want to see all these bells and whistles they've been talking about and all these great games, and I want to see them combined. I don't want to see a fancier looking Call of Duty. I want to see a game that I could not play on my Xbox 360. Not just one that looks different than my Xbox 360, but something that's so compelling that would make me want to buy a completely new console and make it feel like it's a new gaming experience.
So I have a question that actually,
go ahead,
for both of you. Sorry, this delay is insane. But and Brian, I want to hear your take on this. For developers, I mean, we didn't really hear anything about whether the barrier to entry for developing for the One will be different than what has been previously the state of Xbox 360, which is like a pretty high barrier to entry. This is not an app store, this is not like submit your stuff and it gets on there. And this is clearly a super powerful computer, right? It's not just, this is has many functions that go way beyond just gaming. So have you gotten any impression from anybody there? Do you have any sense of, and this is for either one of you guys, any sense of whether or not they're going to lower the barrier to entry and make development for this console more straightforward than it was, particularly for small developers?
I mean, I think they have to. I don't know if they're going to. It's interesting that it's not something they talked about. Now, on the one hand, they could say, look, this was supposed to be a presentation that wasn't about games. Oddly enough, they snuck a lot of games into this presentation. But they didn't at all address that question, which is, I think, a question that's incredibly important to this coming generation of consoles, and that is, can it really support indie games? Can it find the next Minecraft or the next, Angry Birds, and support it in a way that doesn't require developers to put so much effort into trying to get their game onto the system? And yeah, that's a huge question. It's something they didn't talk about at all. So hopefully we're going to hear about it either today or at E3.
Well, Brian, I know you need to get going to more coverage. And Justin and I need to get back to our hilarious banter, which was...
And our Justified recaps. We have several seasons to get
We got a lot of Justified to talk about. But thanks for taking the time to talk to us. And obviously you guys are going to have more stuff today. So we'll keep our eyes on Polygon. And I expect a full, deep, emotional editorial from you by the end of the day.
Brian, was Jay Allard in the room? Can you confirm for me whether or not Jay Allard was in the room?
I saw Phil Harrison. Does that count? He's like a tall Jay Allard. Does that work?
Does not count.
That does not count.
Not even in the vicinity of counting.
Not even in the room.
Thank you for leaving us on that sour note, Brian.
Sorry.
Thanks for
you
nothing.
blew it.
So something we should talk about is there was this sort of controversy about always on. If the console would need to be connected all the time to the internet, if it would be a requirement to play games. That apparently is not the case, according to Wired. I'm reading this on Polygon, but you guys are citing Wired here, I think. And I don't know. This to me was not an issue. Everything in my house is connected to the internet. Am I crazy? Do you have any devices that aren't connected to the internet?
Well, that are required to be on the internet, or are that have the ability to?
I'm just saying, like, every new device you buy connects to the internet in some way.
Exactly.
Is it problematic for you? Have you ever thought, like, man, I really got to get this thing off the Wi-Fi?
To me, the only problem is if I'm unable to play games when I lose my internet connection.
But that would be bad.
That would be bad. But other than that, it doesn't. It's not a huge deal for me.
Right.
One of these reports that has come out since the event has finished is that all Xbox One games have to be installed, and if you're a secondhand player, you have to pay a fee. If you're the second person to have the game, you have to pay.
You mean to install? Like if somebody gives you their game,
or more likely, you buy it. If you buy it used, you have to pay to use it on your console.
Is that confirmed?
That's based on the same Wired report. Yeah.
That seems insane.
That seems really crazy to me.
I'm also being told by one of our writers that developers can require that games are always on.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, which if that's a development choice, and if they want to do that, it makes sense.
Right, but it will impact. That will impact players.
Yeah, absolutely.
That fee stuff is insane, though.
This is insane to me.
So you're telling me? I just want to be clear. Like, I go to a store, I buy a game at $60.
Right.
I go home, I install it. Then so I can still play it? Is that what they're saying?
You can still play it
even if I sell the game.
See, that's the interesting question.
Well, because if there's a fee, and I can just sell the game off and continue to play it, that sort of makes more sense.
It would seem
like they're trying to recoup
that you could continue to play it without the disc, which seems really bizarre.
Like, that seems completely
that
crazy
seems dumb
to me.
too. But like, what it does mean is that if I am at if I want to take a game over to a friend's house to. Not that I do that because I'm 32 years old, but like if I, want to throw...
And I don't do that because I don't have any friends.
Exactly, but I would have to throw my whole console into my backpack and lug it over to his place because I'm not going to be able to just put the disc into his and play it.
I mean, that is a scenario that doesn't exist for most people. I don't think people can't bring games over. I mean, maybe
for
they
the
do.
younger people, I think
really
they
know.
take.
I don't know what people do these days.
I think people do everything. That's the what kind of grosses me out.
But we don't know if you can play the game. If you can actually get rid of the game and continue to play it, and somebody's just paying a fee. By the way, our earpieces are like very loud.
They're like ear splitting. I just unplugged.
Yeah, I was starting to unplug mine.
Any
way we could turn it down. It's not important to the viewers at home, but
they couldn't care less.
They actually are glad that we're in pain. But it is. I think we need to figure out what the case is with that. But if it's like you can't play the game and somebody has to pay an additional fee because they're buying a secondhand game, that seems
crazy,
troubling.
It's troubling.
Really
that's
troubling.
A very kind way of putting it.
What's the end game there? What is that like? They don't want you to ever sell your games?
Well, they don't. They want to make sure that they're making a slice off of every game that's sold. Which again, I think that's a legitimate issue. I mean, that's why we had the that's why we had online passes in the first place, is because the used game market cannibalizing.
Making a slice off of, I mean, once I buy the game, I've paid the full price for the game, the full retail price, right? And they do, value on things does decrease
over time.
Right? So if it's the same thing, I guess the reason is like we expect everybody to buy it at full price. But I mean, even they don't sell it at full price 2 months after the game comes out.
Well, the problem is that when I buy it initially, they're getting a slice of that. They get a taste.
Right.
When I buy it from GameStop a month later for $5 cheaper or what have you, they're not getting any of that.
They're not getting it done.
They want their whole.
Their beef is with GameStop. It's not really.
Well,
with the
if this is
consumer.
accurate, then this isn't just a shot across the bow at GameStop. This is, well.
But this to me,
goodbye GameStop. We're done interacting with you at all.
This opens up a whole new market for consumer to consumer selling.
Well, no, because you still would have to. It's not about GameStop.
What's the fee though?
Well, that's a good
You
question.
can factor the fee into the price of the purchase.
Their profit margins are not going to be able to remain the same. They're not going to be able to sell a game at $5.
But you got to cut out the middleman, is what I'm saying.
Right.
Because you have a new middleman.
Right. Right.
Before it was GameStop as the middleman, and they would take your stuff, give you a little bit of money for it, and then sell it to somebody for more money and make a profit on it, just pure profit. Now you could sell it directly, but somebody's still going to make a profit on it.
I'm actually more comfortable with that scenario because at least then my money is going to people who are making games rather than...
Right. No, and maybe that's the goal. Maybe the goal is they want people to sell them on eBay, not at GameStop.
Oh, man.
What?
I don't know.
What's wrong with that?
It's not. I mean, it's just
peer-to-peer.
Who can trust these
peer-to-peer
online
game
retailers?
sales.
Let me go into a brick-and-mortar store.
You mean e-tailers.
Like pets.com, for example. When I need pet
You
food...
don't know what you're going to get from there.
Right.
They're not in business anymore.
Right. What do they put in there?
What is pets.com right now?
It had a puppet.
Have you looked? Let's see right now.
I don't. I'm thinking about buying it.
Pets.com. It's mypetsmart.com. Oh, it's PetSmart.
It's PetSmart.
Yeah.
It's
smart of them to buy that.
I was
They're not
actually
kidding.
really
They
upset
weren't kidding.
that we were doing this live stream because I haven't been able to register any Xbox One related URLs.
What are you thinking? Do you
just
have any
anything.
ideas? If you say them now, they will be gone.
They will be gone.
So
I
if
can
it's
make
really
them
good,
disappear. And
we could convince people to buy bad domains like Xbox1stuff.com. That's actually pretty good. How I think of it.
just go ahead and just
Xbox
I'll
One.
stall. I'll
Xbox
vamp.
One games. No, that's not going to be available. All right, what else? What are other things we need to talk about? I'm looking at it's kind of light. There should be more to talk about.
Well, okay. There's
What are we missing?
a big NFL deal.
Oh, the big event. Oh, the original content.
Original content.
They're doing a Halo show, executive produced by Steven Spielberg.
like a hit shows Smash or Terra Nova.
They'll be re-upping Smash on the Xbox for
next season.
They know, here's the thing about Microsoft, they know their audience. And they said, what does our audience want? And the answer is another season of Smash.
I'm going to do a musical about Halo. And nothing you say is going to stop
A
me.
musical about Halo,
I would see.
I would
in a
watch
heartbeat.
the hell out of. So they have NFL, a deal with NFL, which is going to be live games, right? Plus augmented stuff.
Right.
There's going to be things around the game.
The football players look out and point at the screen and say, that one was for you.
and then they turn around, and on the back of their jersey, there's a huge Xbox logo with your name underneath it. It's all like augmented reality NFL games is what's happening.
I love it.
I mean, look, don't get me wrong. Look, okay, so wait, hold on. Let's start with the Halo show. Okay. The Halo show is just a show, right?
It's a live action TV experience starring Master Chief. I don't know that.
Master Chief.
Cortana. The whole gang is
I
back.
was going to say like an actor's name. Master Chief Liam Hemsworth.
He would be
He's
good.
not in it. What? What was that, Ross?
Hold on. Sorry?
Oh,
Okay.
So anyhow, but they are doing original content, which is they're sort of doing a Netflix thing.
Yeah.
Where they're like, we want to be a channel. So they want to be your cable box. They want to be your original content provider. They want to be your game system.
Well, there is a video on that.
like, we can be your game system
be your
if
game
you
system.
really have to play games.
If you insist.
But it's not that big of a deal.
We'll play games.
So we have Dieter Bohn live from the event. There he is.
Hey.
Dieter, can you hear us?
Hey,
Hey, how are you? You're a little quiet.
I
we
can,
turn Dieter
yes.
up? Can we jam up his volume?
I'm doing great.
Can we ramp up his dBs? Dieter, your initials are DB.
I can talk
no
more
big
loudly.
deal. What happened today? What did you see?
I saw a short, compact, incredibly dense hour of a ton of Xbox One news. This was the polar opposite of what I remember from Sony's PS4 event. They got on a rail and they just ran. They ran through a ton of features super fast.
Do you think that this was a reaction to the shortness of this? Was a reaction to the PS4 event?
For the new generation, we're taking the world's best
commentary. What's happening? Also, maybe commentary on Google's 3-hour insane I/O keynote. Because I know that people from Microsoft are actually tweeting about that.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't be surprised at all. And it was almost a little bit too fast. It was a little bit hard to keep up, and there were a bunch of features that I wanted to know more about, especially the NFL stuff. I would like to see a bit more of that. But overall, I mean, they sort of were much better about like giving you like specific concrete things you can grab onto, like hardware. They showed the hardware, I think, within the first 10 minutes, maybe even sooner than that. They put it on stage right away.
How did that, Dieter? Hey, it's Justin McElroy. We've never met, but hello, how are you? What did that look like in person?
Hey,
as we were watching the presentation. It was hard to tell at some points with lights and things if it was silver, if it was black, if it was glossy. How did it look real and in person? Since you've seen that and we haven't.
So it looks like a combination of your 1980s VCR.
Ladies and gentlemen,
2013
introducing.
DVR. It looks like a thing that's meant to fit under your TV like any other console box, like a DVR. I gotta say it's a little bit uninspiring. It's glossy black plastic. It's pretty square, and the right side there's vents all over the thing. There's vents on the top and on the sides and across the back. So this is not something you're gonna want to set anything else on because I imagine it kicks off a lot of heat.
It actually looks like two different boxes glued together in the middle.
Yeah, there was actually a moment where we saw one of their interviews where it does kind of look like they did like. And when I first saw it, I almost thought for a second, are there two components here? Is there like the drive component and the rest of the console?
I know what you're thinking.
Like
Sega CD.
Yeah, like Sega CD, or like a mini system, where you could put it side by side or you could stack them.
Put Sonic and Knuckles right in the side.
You literally could cut that thing down the middle.
King Solomon style.
You probably couldn't. But, I mean, Dieter, was there anything today, was there a moment where you were like, I'm surprised about this, I didn't see this coming?
So I'm not a huge gamer. I don't play PC games. So, I mean, I was expecting to be blown away by graphics, which is, what you expect at an event like this. But when they started showing the stuff from the new Call of Duty, Ghosts, there was a moment when, like, I was watching the cutscene. I knew it was a cutscene, and then I was watching gameplay. But I was like, "Am I watching gameplay yet?" And I wasn't sure, and that was super impressive. It wasn't just like the faces looked more real. It was also that like the movements of the characters and like they just didn't seem like awkward video game guys running. They seemed like actual humans running, which was impressive for me. And other surprises, I guess the biggest surprise really is this multitasking feature where you can switch immediately from a game to a TV show to launching IE. When he said launch Internet Explorer and it popped up and you didn't have to wait for it to load at all, that was shocking. And if they can really nail having quick switch, just like switching to channels with these interactive experiences on it, like it genuinely could be a really important centerpiece for the living room.
So, did you feel like any of the gaming stuff? I asked Brian this, and I'm going to ask you. You just can't escape it. Did you feel like any of the gaming stuff? I mean, for me, I don't know. I was a little bit underwhelmed. In the room there, did you feel like there was anything that was truly impressive? And did it even seem like? Did it just feel like that this was just we got E3 coming, and it's not? I mean, it seemed like they kind of brushed it out of the way pretty quickly.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I heard people say that we'll tell you more at E3 6 or 8 times. And, I think we saw 4 games and, better graphics, but, better graphics is fine. I want, like, a different experience. And they hinted that they're going to do that with that Quantum Break game. They had, like, actual physical actors, and then they cut to a video game thing. And if there'll be some interesting interplay between that'll be cool. But if it's just like Dragon's Lair, where if you make a choice in the game, then they show you a different like acting scene afterwards,
It'll become the greatest console of this or any other generation.
All right, Dieter, I know you have to get back to covering this event, and so I appreciate you taking the time. We're going to have more on The Verge from you there live. None of those words made any sense in the sequence that I just said, though. But Dieter is at this moment going to do more coverage of the new Xbox, the Xbox One, which I can't get used to saying. By the way, poor HTC, Dieter. I'm sure you feel their pain right now. But thanks for joining us, and we'll see more stuff from you on the site later on.
Yeah, stay tuned, guys. Thanks.
That delay is—it's
too much. Maybe the pros can handle this.
We have such incredible technology all around us. I mean, we're surrounded by. There's at least one TV here that you can see in this shot. There's this thing, and yet we can't fix the delay.
Yeah. Where is it going? Where is it coming?
Yeah, like what are we shooting? We're shooting it into space. We actually are shooting it into space.
That is literally what's happening.
So I feel like I'm. It's weird, but I'm like hard pressed to think of things that we haven't talked about with this console. It just felt like a very brief, compact. Like he said, compact.
Mm-hmm. It's got a new. Oh, that was actually one thing that we were talking about during that we didn't get answered for us was the controller they showed off.
Oh my God, we haven't talked about the controller at all.
Yeah,
it looks. Justin.
Yes.
You're not. As I said before, you were good for nothing, and I take it back.
I'm back.
I didn't say it on the air,
baby.
but I said it repeatedly before we went on the air.
It got a little awkward.
The controller. So it's an Xbox controller. 2 buttons on it. Do you understand these 2 buttons? I'm not totally.
This is what I did not understand.
There's the square with a square on top of it. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And then there's the lines.
There's a line
button. Yeah. What do we think those buttons do?
I think one.
We probably could find out if we looked at the internet right now.
Yeah, we probably
had time to just browse the internet.
This is the speed of things. We are because our inability to read internet right now. We're like babies. We're lost in the wilderness.
We really are,
and we don't know what any of the buttons do.
In the old days, people would have just gotten an encyclopedia and they could have told you all about it.
I mean, here's what we know: it's got impulse triggers, so that was a big one for me. Whatever that. And there's a Wi-Fi stack inside of it. There's a stack of Wi-Fi in there.
Yeah.
Is that good?
In what?
In the controller.
I mean, you
bring
got
the thing back up so I can.
Is there Wi-Fi in the controller?
It looks like there's Wi-Fi in the controller.
Yeah, that's so you can control the game from anywhere in your house.
Oh, perfect.
Right? Even if you're not in the same room with the system.
Okay, Wi-Fi direct radio stack.
Yeah.
That's like
a weird feature to call out.
Okay. See, I don't know.
I'm sure there are uses for it. I don't know what they are.
But there's got to be something. Open my refrigerator.
Connectivity to things.
So
using wireless fidelity.
The lines. I'm assuming that because any of the functionality that they have in the system also has to work without Kinect, right? Because you have to be able to disable it.
Well, I don't know. Does it work without Kinect?
See, that would be my question. Maybe
they ship the consoles with Kinect, so
maybe those buttons are filling in some of that gap for when you're in a noisy, room or something.
Yeah, I also wonder if there's a microphone in the controller at all or something, because I feel like the voice recognition, particularly if you're in a crowded room or you're in a room with a family
or jerks that just want to turn off the game,
huge dicks. I don't know. Yeah, I'm at a loss here. I don't have an answer for this question.
I don't know what those buttons do. If you know at home,
I feel like one takes you to something.
And
one does something else.
We got the guide button. It's a little more.
There are definitely answers. I'm sure people are tweeting angrily at me now.
The D-pad looks nice. They've done away with the weird circle pad thing
altogether. Well, is the circle at the top an actual button?
That looks. I would assume that's the guide button.
Right, again. That is the guide button.
Yeah,
you think that remains and it glows?
Yeah, and
I hope you can turn that off, because I feel like for dark room, late night, scary game, dark room playing, you don't want a light on your.
What if they can make it like pulse
throb
red?
Throb and pulse. I would be into that. I don't know if it's colored or not.
No.
In there.
Hey, that's a free idea. That's
freebie for Microsoft.
And then of course we saw Call of Duty Ghosts.
Yeah.
Which they just. God damn if they don't want people to take this game seriously. They want you to please feel something while you're shooting people in the brain.
There's an emotional. I love that. I do love that they're like talking about like the deep. They have this director or the writer and director of Syriana, which is a great movie actually. And he's like, they really wanted this Call of Duty game to have real emotion. They wanted these characters to have real emotion. And then it's just like the bobbing gun.
Yeah, right.
Like it's just you see the hand and the gun, and it's like, look at the way you can interact with the world. You can shoot now. You can shoot. Besides people, you can shoot schools of fish can be shot at. You can shoot actual bricks on a building.
Yeah, whatever you want to shoot.
It doesn't just hit the texture of bricks. It hits actual bricks.
And then they actually try to brag about the emotional connection you're going to have to your dog, which is a classic Fable move.
I know the dog is
brought back.
The dog is the worst part to me. It's like if you're gonna make me have to feel pain for. I already struggled with. I've been playing Far Cry 3. I'm gonna take a little detour here.
Go on.
I've been playing Far Cry 3, and in order
into this hang glider.
In order to in order to get ahead in Far Cry 3, you have to kill several thousand animals to make pouches for yourself. It was like, why don't you just sell me the pouch at the store? Like, I'll go get money. I'll kill humans happily and take their money. I prefer not to slaughter this beautiful leopard. But luckily, they make the animals all super aggressive, so they always attack you, which is nice. This is a hell of a segue out of what we were talking about. But I feel bad for the animals in Far Cry, and I really know that I'm going to be feeling emotionally connected. That's with a K, by the way. Connected to this dog that I'm going to have to take care of, and he's going to go scouting for me, and then somebody's going to take him hostage.
Well,
I'm assuming
it's easier because there's more, and I think that this is sort of telling is that the fact that they say we want you to have an emotional connection, and part of the way we're achieving that is that we're going to put a dog in it. It really, to me, speaks to how difficult it is to create those emotional connections. There's still that valley, and it's easier to abstract a dog out to a point where you can, where it can be believable.
They might as well be like, we're going to put the old guy from Up in the game.
Exactly,
he's going to be your companion,
an adorable cartoon elderly man.
We really wanted emotional connection, and we can't do it with the faces here yet. So. Here's a dog.
Here's a dog.
And the dog's going to whimper. He's going to get shot in the leg and whimper, and you'll have no choice.
But it is true. You got to eat him.
It is true. It's going to be one of the missions where you have to prepare the dog. That's how realistic it is. But it is interesting that you're right. It's kind of this. It is totally abstracted. It's not. They didn't show how the humans are going to emote in some meaningful way. Or that the story is going to be
just mocapped a dog, and man, they were
they showed the motion capture of the dog attacking a guy,
and they showed the arm detail. And this is what arms looked like in Modern Warfare 3. These arms.
Those arms look good.
I like that they won't compare it to what Ghost looks like on 360 because they're still going to try to sell you that one. Make sure you definitely still buy that.
And they're still going to sell the 360, which they haven't really talked about, but we have. From Mark Whitten, and they're selling the 360 alongside this. I don't know if they're going to change price points. It seems like they would.
I would have to, right? It's $99, yeah.
That's what I think. That's going to become their media console, right? Like
isn't that what that is?
Well, no, but it's like if you just want to do basic stuff and play some games. Mm-hmm. I feel like right. Of course, that is what the new one is. So what's the value?
So why
would I buy it?
Why does anybody buy anything?
Save up.
Let's just go get a TP and live out in the wilderness.
A TP like the one you would put out for camping.
Yeah, exactly.
Or whatever TPs are done. Whatever people do with TPs.
Give me a Wi-Fi direct stack. Put it in my TP. I'm set.
As long as it's got the stack. TPs would make good Wi-Fi enabled devices when you think about it, because they kind of have an antenna.
They would be perfect.
Sort of got a structure that's built for transmitting Wi-Fi data.
So that's going to do it for us.
The air. Are we wrapping up?
Yeah, we are. Thank you to
Brian Crescente.
Dieter Bohn.
Dieter Bone. Bone Zone, as I like to refer to him.
Ross Miller. Everybody.
Ross Miller. All of the crew here.
Everybody.
You guys at home
Thank you.
for witnessing what can only be described as a thing. An event,
and it's an exciting time in gaming. I'm excited.
And I just want to say that Polygon and The Verge will be doing a lot more coverage.
Oh boy!
Today of this
a disgusting amount.
The way more in-depth coverage. There's stuff coming you don't even know what's about to happen. So continue to rapidly, or I would say obsessively, refresh your tabs the only two tabs you should have open at this point, which is Polygon and the Verge.
Just madly refreshing.
Madly refresh them.
Xbox, Polygon, Xbox, the Verge,
Exactly.
Xbox. That's you.
That's you at home. And then you're going to do this, and it's going to all go away. And you're going to see the smiling face of Steve Ballmer hovering, waiting.
Jay Allard's Ghost. Thank you to everybody. That's going to do it for us. Goodbye.
Thanks.
Thank
Bye.
You.